Good afternoon. Thank you for watching as always. It is appreciated, so thank you. Before we get into the meat of the video, I want to personally thank you all for watching and liking. Consider sharing the channel and consider commenting if you think I make some good points. Over the past few days, we've had the establishment media and we've had the establishment parties, both Labour and Tories, talk about how diversity built Britain. And of course, the Windrush Generation from the former colonies, mostly Caribbean nations like Jamaica, saying they helped build post-war Britain. That's not really true. That is a modern myth, and it's been propagated by the liberal elites since around 1997, when they decided to open the floodgates to mass migration without democratic or political consent from the population of Britain, and it's a way for them to retrofit their narrative onto the history of the British Isles. I won't stand for it, and you deserve the truth. You deserve me to be open and honest, and that's what I'm going to be here. The British Nationalities Act of 1948 is where all this started. Alright? It was an act of Parliament in the UK on British nationality law, which defined British nationality by creating a status of citizen of the United Kingdom and colonies, and it was basically a sole citizenship for both the UK and all of our possessions and colonies, and that was the whole point of it. The Act came into effect on the 1st of January 1949 and was passed in consequence of the Commonwealth Convention or Conference of 47 on Nationality and Citizenship, which agreed that each Commonwealth member state would legislate its own citizenship, distinct from the shared status of Commonwealth citizen, formerly British subject. So that's the backdrop to the whole thing, okay? And the people that came over from the Caribbean were mostly looking for work. And contrary to popular belief, they were not invited, alright? They were not welcomed over with open arms. The Labour governments of the time were actually quite cautious about the whole thing. They were afraid. There was only a few people, well, by today's standards, a few people that were on this initial group of people from the colonies, and the Labour government was actually concerned. We're going to look at those concerns now. The Windrush docked in Tilbury on the 22nd of June, and it carried around 500 passengers, mostly from Jamaica, ex-servicemen and civilians seeking work and opportunity. They were not officially invited by the British government, and there was not an open recruitment drive or campaign. In fact, the government was caught off guard by the arrival. The Colonial Office and Home Office were deeply concerned about the public reaction and potential unrest and political fallouts. Okay, think about that and put it in today's standards, alright, or by today's scale. 1948, the Labour government were concerned about legal migration from former colonies and empire countries of 500 people. So much so, they debated whether they were even going to dock in the UK. That is how seriously the government, Attlee's government in 1948, considered the legal passage of 500 people from former countries we ruled. And now we're in a status that we get over 500 a day, dinghy divers, illegals from France, and they don't even think it's a problem. It's really, really stark and telling how much disdain the modern political establishment have for you, me, and everybody in the country. Think about that. It's shocking, and it makes me sick to my stomach. Anyway, let's continue. The famous memo between ministers expressed anxiety, and efforts were made to discourage more arrivals without overtly violating British citizenship rights under the Nationality Act of 1948. So yes, I'm accurate, and that's accurate as well. Okay, so let's move on from that. The government reaction was cautious and cold. Labour, under Clement Attlee, feared the backlash, was politically cautious about seeking to support mass non-white immigration So they were concerned about non-whites entering the UK, and this is a lefty Labour government of 1948. I've not mentioned skin colour. I'm not mentioning skin colour at all. It's this document. It's the government of 1948, and they were concerned about it, alright? They ultimately allowed the passengers to land without fanfare and downplayed the event. Behind closed doors, there was even a desire to discourage further arrivals, but open exclusion wasn't possible under existing imperial citizenship laws. Okay, we're going to get an excerpt up of the actual memo that went between MPs, ministers, and the government of the day. The country may become an open reception centre for immigrants not selected in regards and respect to health, education, training, character, customs, and above all, whether assimilation is at all possible or not. Alright? This is under a Labour government in 1948. How far we have fallen. Alright? The government that created the NHS is not the same Labour government that we've got now. They are the polar opposites, and I cannot be clearer about that. There's even going to be a cross-chair committee of a former Tory and a former Labour person, and Savage Avid, I think it is for the Tories. I cannot remember the name mark for the Labour. It's not really important. They had their first meeting today on the wake of the Southport protests and the massacre from the Welsh choir boy from last year on a policy for social cohesion. Here's a policy: close the borders. That's your policy. Problem solved. Alright? Never believe the lie they want you to believe, which is diversity built Britain. Diversity didn't build Britain. There were always going to be exceptions. There were always going to be great people that are from the Commonwealth or are born of Commonwealth stock, that have assimilated, integrated, and are contributors to the society. That's always going to be the case. There were always exceptions to the rule. Never buy government policy or spin. It is more likely than not always fake news. Now, if you like this video and you think I've got a point, make me aware. Comment, like, and subscribe. And one final thing. All Commonwealth citizens, whether they are from Pakistan, Australia, Canada, India, once they live in the United Kingdom as Commonwealth citizens, they have a right to vote. I put a poll out on my channel a few weeks back on whether Commonwealth citizens should have the vote or not in the UK. Overwhelmingly, the majority of people on my channel oppose Commonwealth citizens having the vote. Let me know should that be taken away as well. Comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day, and as always, thank you for watching.